Welcome to the Nudgee Beach Environmental Education Centre. My name's Kim and I'm about to show you a few things about geography. Before you come out to Nudgee Beach, I wanted to show you our two study sites that you will be working in. This is the mouth of Nudgee Creek, our creek that's in the green zone. Right now it's quite a high tide with a very strong wind, so when you come out there might not be this much water. This here will be our study site at the mouth of the Nudgee Creek. It will run from one side of the boardwalk across the other side into the mangroves. This section here of the transect is partial salt marsh, so it's a very delicate ecosystem. So when we go walking through this area, we need to be really aware of where we're stepping. Whoa, 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 don't step there. Those are pneumatophores. This is how our grey mangroves get their oxygen. It's really important that we try not to step on these. This is our study site at the mouth of the Kedron Brook. Check out the different types of vegetation. It looks a little bit different to where we just were, doesn't it? Here we can see the effects of what our super high tides do when it comes to erosion. So because we no longer have any mangroves here at the mouth of the Kedron Brook, we're actually starting to lose some of our casuarina trees. And the erosion levels are over 1/2 metre. And that's in spite of all the ripraping that has been put in front. A bit challenging to see at a high tide, but we do have many rocks that have been placed in front here. The equipment that we're going to use is quite specialised and in some cases quite expensive. We're now going to talk you through how to use each piece. One of our main focuses here at Nudgee Beach is always sustainability. A part of that is looking after our equipment, because if we don't look after it, it just goes to landfill, and that's the last thing that we want. So instead of taking our tape measure out to the whole 40 metres, we're actually going to do a frog hop method where we only take it out to 5 metres at a time. Check out how we do it. So now that we've reached 5 metres, keeping the tape measure up the ground, we're just going to drop our head, and now we're going to frog hop down and do it again. Our quadrat is how we focus our study. Now what you need to do is keep consistent with where you're placing the quadrat in relation to your transect peg. In this case we've gone the bottom left hand corner. That means with every quadrat we're going to keep it in the bottom left hand corner. To measure temperature, we're going to use our temp gun. We're going to squat down so we're closer to the ground, about 20 centimetres away, and pull the trigger until it beeps. This will come up with a reading, and if it's too high, you're probably in Fahrenheit. To record our wind speed, we're going to press the middle button to turn it on and make sure that it says AVG and kilometres per hour. Once that's done, you're going to hold your wind reader up in the middle of your quadrat for about 30 seconds to get that average reading. This is our data logger. This is how we measure humidity and light. To change between the two, you hit the middle button. Our humidity measurement's very straightforward, but our light measurement, as you can see, continuously changes. The best way to measure this is to take a photo and then read the number off the photo. To keep it consistent, we're keeping our data logger on the meter ruler. Our data logger has the sensor up the top, so if you cover that sensor, you're not going to get an accurate reading. Often we see students doing this, or even holding the sensor with their finger over the top. Canopy cover is how much coverage there is above you. We need to measure that to find out what sort of shade these species are receiving. The easiest way to do it is to get your meter ruler, pop it in the middle of your quadrat, get your phone on selfie mode, and to take a photo. You can then have a look at that photo and compare it to the chart that we've pre-prepared to figure out what the percentage coverage is. Now that we've had a look at our abiotic factors, we're going to use the holy grail of Nudgee Beach plant species and figure out what our living plants are in this area. This is a common introduced species here at Nudgee Beach. Now if we have a look in our book, we can see it here. It is called climbing asparagus fern. Now be careful of this one because it does like to hang from trees and it has little spikes that can actually grab onto you. This here is sea purslane. It may or may not be in flower when you come out here. It's one of our native species here at Nudgee Beach. This is ruby saltbush. It's much finer than the sea purslane. When you come out, it may have a little ruby red fruit on it. And again, it's a native. This one here may look pretty, but it's called Singapore daisy, and it's actually a declared pest in some council regions. We really don't like seeing it here. Very invasive. This is an invasive species, our panic grass. You can see our Christmas tree seed top, and we have some Rhodes grass as well. You can just see how their root system is not stabilizing the soil here. It's quite shallow. Whereas if we had some native species, particularly the mangroves that belong here, we wouldn't be seeing this level of erosion. Our gradient measurement is one of our most important measurements because we can link that to the different plant species and the level of erosion that's happening. Generally, you'll need 3 people for this job, but let us just show you what it looks like. To get an accurate gradient measurement, we need the little bubble in the level to be in the middle. So when it's all the way to the right, we need to lift it up. So can you lift it up, Chloe? Stop there. See how it's now in the middle? Now we can go down to Chloe and get the measurement. So having a look here, it's about 113 centimeters. It is 1 meter off the ground already, so we need to make sure we minus 100 from whatever measurement we take.